October 1961. Mickey Mantle stood on a dark pier and made a choice that saved his career and destroyed his body. October 1961. The secret deal Mickey Mantle made to save his career. New York City, October 1961. The World Series was 3 days away. Mickey Mantle sat alone in a private medical office on the Upper East Side of Manhattan, staring at an X-ray clipped to a light box on the wall. It was his body, or what was left of it. His right knee looked like someone had taken a sledgehammer to it. The cartilage was gone. The ligaments were shredded. His left ankle showed a hairline fracture that ran from the joint to the heel. His right shoulder, the one he used to launch baseballs into the stratosphere, had a rotator cuff tear so severe that the doctor had circled it 3 times in red marker. And now, sitting across from him, the team physician was delivering a sentence that felt worse than death. "Mickey," the doctor said, his voice low and careful, "if you play in the World Series, you might never walk again." Mickey didn't respond. He just stared at the X-ray. Outside the office window, New York City hummed with excitement. The streets were packed with people wearing Yankees caps. Newspapers screamed headlines about the upcoming series. The entire country was watching. Mickey Mantle was supposed to be the hero, but the hero couldn't stand up without his vision going white from pain. The doctor leaned forward, his elbows on his desk. "I've been doing this for 20 years, Mickey. I've seen what happens to athletes who push too far. I've seen men who can't walk at 40, who can't hold their grandchildren, who spend the rest of their lives in chronic pain." He paused. "You're 29 years old. You have your whole life ahead of you. Don't throw it away for one series." Mickey finally looked at him. "One series." His voice was hoarse. "This isn't just one series. This is the World Series. This is everything I've worked for my entire life. I understand that, but no." Mickey stood up, wincing as his knee buckled slightly. "You don't understand. You're not the one who's going to sit in the dugout and watch his team fight without him. You're not the one who's going to be remembered as the guy who couldn't finish." The doctor sighed, removed his glasses and rubbed his eyes. "There's nothing I can do for you, Mickey. Your body is done. I'm sorry." Mickey stared at him for a long moment. Then he turned and limped toward the door. "Then I'll find someone who can." That night, Mickey sat alone in his apartment in the Bronx. The lights were off. The television was on, but he wasn't watching it. He was thinking about his father. Mutt Mantle had died 3 years earlier. Cancer. He was only 40 years old. Mickey had been at his bedside when it happened. His father's last words to him were, "Don't waste it, Mick. Don't waste what you've been given." Mickey had promised him he wouldn't. But now, sitting in the dark with a body that was falling apart, he felt like he had already broken that promise. The phone rang. Mickey stared at it for a moment, then picked it up. "Hello." The voice on the other end was calm, professional, unfamiliar. "Mr. Mantle, I heard you're looking for help." Mickey frowned. "Who is this?" "Someone who can give you what you need. I work with athletes. Discreetly. I can make your pain disappear. I can get you through the World Series." Mickey's grip tightened on the receiver. "How did you get this number? That's not important. What's important is that I can help you. But we need to meet in person." "Where?" "Pier 47. Tomorrow night. Midnight. Come alone. Don't tell anyone." Mickey's heart was pounding. "What are you going to do?" "I'm going to give you a choice, Mr. Mantle, and then you're going to decide whether you're willing to pay the price." The line went dead. Mickey sat there, holding the receiver, staring at nothing. He knew this was wrong. He knew he shouldn't go. But the thought of sitting out the World Series, of watching from the bench while his team fought without him, was unbearable. He had spent his entire life chasing this moment, and he wasn't going to let his body take it away from him. Pier 47. The next night, 11:45 p.m., the Hudson River was black and still, reflecting the lights of the city like shattered glass. Mickey arrived early, parking his car 2 blocks away and walking the rest of the distance. His knee screamed with every step, but he ignored it. The pier was abandoned. Rusted metal beams jutted out over the water. Broken crates were stacked against a warehouse wall. The smell of salt and oil hung in the air. Mickey stood in the shadows, his breath visible in the cold October night. He was about to leave when he heard footsteps. Slow, deliberate, a figure stepped out of the darkness. A man in a long black coat, mid-50s, sharp eyes, calm demeanor. He carried a leather briefcase in one hand. "Mr. Mantle," the man said, his voice smooth. "Thank you for coming." Mickey didn't move. "Who are you?" "My name doesn't matter." What matters is what I can do for you. The man set the briefcase on a crate and opened it. Inside were 3 glass vials filled with clear liquid, a syringe, and a small bottle of alcohol. Mickey's stomach turned. What is that? Medicine, a very specific kind. The man picked up one of the vials, holding it up to the moonlight. Cortisone, mixed with a synthetic analgesic, and something else, something stronger. What does it do? It kills pain, completely. It reduces inflammation. It makes damaged tissue feel like new tissue, for a while. The man set the vial down. You'll feel like you're 20 years old again, Mickey. You'll play the best baseball of your life. Mickey stared at the vials. Is it legal? The man smiled faintly. Does it matter? Mickey looked away, jaw clenched. The team doctors already gave me cortisone shots. They didn't work, because they're limited by regulations, by ethics, by the Hippocratic Oath. The man's voice was calm, almost hypnotic. I'm not limited by any of those things. This will work, Mickey. I guarantee it. Mickey looked back at him. What's the catch? The man closed the briefcase and leaned against the crate. Your body will pay for it later. The inflammation will come back, worse than before. The cartilage in your knee will degrade faster. Your shoulder will require surgery, maybe multiple surgeries. You'll have maybe 5 more good years. After that, he shrugged, you'll need a cane, maybe a wheelchair, maybe worse. The words hung in the air like smoke. Mickey felt his chest tighten. And if I don't take it, you sit out the World Series, you watch your team play without you, and everyone remembers you as the guy who couldn't finish, the guy whose body gave out when it mattered most. Mickey's fists clenched. The man stepped closer. I know what you're thinking, Mickey. You're thinking about your father, about all the hours he spent teaching you to hit, about all the sacrifices you made to get here. You're thinking about Roger Maris breaking Babe Ruth's record while you were injured. You're thinking about what it would feel like to watch the World Series from a hospital bed. Mickey's breath was shaking. How do you know all that? Because I've done this before. I've worked with athletes in every sport. Football, boxing, track. They all face the same choice. Glory now, or health later. The man opened the briefcase again. Most of them choose glory, because in the end they can't live with the regret of not knowing what could have been. Mickey stared at the vials. His mind was racing. He thought about his teammates, Whitey Ford, Yogi Berra, Roger Maris. They were counting on him. He thought about the fans, the city, the country. He thought about his father's voice. Don't waste it, Mick. And he made his decision. Give it to me. The man worked quickly. He swabbed Mickey's knee with alcohol, then his shoulder, then his ankle. The needle was long, thicker than any Mickey had seen before. This is going to hurt, the man said. He wasn't lying. The injection burned like fire. Mickey gritted his teeth, his hands gripping the edge of the crate so hard his knuckles went white. The pain shot through his knee like lightning, spreading up his thigh and down to his calf. The man moved to his shoulder. Another injection, another wave of fire, then his ankle. By the time it was over, Mickey was sweating, his vision blurred. The man packed up the briefcase. You'll feel the effects in about an hour. Don't tell anyone, not your teammates, not your wife, not your doctors. If anyone asks, you had a miraculous recovery, a second wind, divine intervention, whatever you want to call it. Mickey nodded, still breathing hard. The man turned to leave, then paused. One more thing, Mr. Mantle. What? You're not the first person I've helped, and you won't be the last. This game eats people alive. It chews them up and spits them out, and the ones who survive are the ones who learn to make deals. He looked Mickey in the eye. Remember that? And then he was gone, disappearing into the shadows like he had never been there at all. Mickey stood alone on the pier, the sound of the river lapping against the wooden posts. He looked down at his knee. It didn't hurt. Not yet. An hour later, Mickey was standing in his apartment, staring at himself in the mirror. He bent his knee. No pain. He lifted his arm. No pain. He stood on his toes, putting all his weight on his injured ankle. Nothing. It was like the last 3 months of agony had never happened. Mickey laughed. A short, disbelieving sound. Then he walked to the living room and picked up a baseball bat. He took a slow, experimental swing. Perfect. His shoulder felt strong. His knee felt solid. His entire body felt alive. He swung again, harder this time. The bat cut through the air with a sound like wind through a tunnel. Mickey smiled. He had done it. He had saved his career. October 4th, 1961, Game 1 of the World Series. Yankee Stadium was packed with 62,000 people. The roar was deafening. Mickey stepped onto the field, and the crowd erupted. Signs waved in the stands. Cameras flashed. The entire stadium was on its feet. He took his position in center field, and for the first time in months, he felt like himself again. No pain, no stiffness, no fear. In the third inning, he came to bat. The Cincinnati Reds pitcher, Jim O'Toole, stared him down from the mound. Mickey dug in, his cleats biting into the dirt. O'Toole wound up and threw. Fastball, inside. Mickey's bat exploded through the zone. Crack. The ball rocketed into the gap in right center field. Mickey was already running, his legs pumping, his knee feeling strong and stable. He slid into second base in a cloud of dust. Double. The crowd went wild. Mickey stood up, dusted himself off, and looked toward the dugout. His teammates were on their feet, clapping, shouting his name. He smiled, but inside, a small voice whispered, "What did you do?" Fifth inning, Cincinnati had a runner on second. 2 outs. The batter hit a line drive to deep center. Mickey turned and ran. He sprinted across the grass, his eyes locked on the ball. It was sinking fast, falling toward the warning track. Mickey dove, his body stretched out horizontal, his glove extended as far as it would go. He felt the ball hit leather. He crashed to the ground, rolled twice, and came up holding the ball. The umpire's arm shot up. Out. The stadium exploded. Mickey jogged back to the dugout, and his teammates mobbed him. "How are you doing this?" Whitey Ford asked, his eyes wide. 2 weeks ago, you could barely walk." Mickey forced a grin. "Guess I got lucky." But luck had nothing to do with it. That night, alone in his apartment, Mickey poured himself a glass of whiskey. He sat in the dark, staring at his knee. It felt fine, perfect, even, but something was wrong. He could feel it. Not in his body, in his mind. The man's words echoed in his head. "Your body will pay for it later." Mickey drank the whiskey in one gulp, and poured another. He told himself it was worth it, that he had made the right choice, but deep down he wasn't sure. Game 2, Game 3, Game 4, Mickey played like a machine. He hit a home run in Game 3 that sailed over the right field wall and disappeared into the crowd. He stole a base in Game 4, sliding headfirst into second, and coming up grinning. The reporters called it a miracle. His teammates called it heart. But Mickey knew the truth. Every morning, he woke up feeling the effects of the injections fading. The pain would start to creep back. Just a whisper at first, a dull ache in his knee, a twinge in his shoulder, and every night he would call the number the man had given him. The man would meet him, always in the shadows, always with more vials. "Just one more game," Mickey would say, and the man would nod. "Just one more." Mickey caught it, and the stadium erupted. His teammates stormed the field. Champagne sprayed. Flashbulbs popped. The crowd chanted his name. "Mickey, Mickey, Mickey." He was lifted onto his teammates' shoulders. Reporters shoved microphones in his face. "Mickey, how does it feel to be a champion?" He smiled, his face covered in champagne and sweat. "Feels like a dream," but inside, he felt hollow. Mickey sat in front of his locker, still in his uniform, staring at the floor. Yogi Berra sat down next to him. "You okay, Mick?" Mickey nodded. "Yeah, just tired." Yogi clapped him on the shoulder. "You were incredible out there. I don't know how you did it, but you saved us." Mickey forced a smile. "Thanks, Yogi." Yogi stood up and walked away. Mickey looked down at his hands. They were shaking. Worse than before. Mickey's knee swelled to twice its normal size. He couldn't bend it without crying out. His shoulder locked up completely. He couldn't lift his arm above his head. He went to see the team doctors. They ran tests, X-rays, MRIs. One of them stared at the scans, his face pale. "Mickey, what happened to you?" Mickey didn't answer. The doctor pointed to the X-ray. "It's like your body aged 10 years in 2 months. The cartilage in your knee is almost completely gone. Your shoulder is going to need surgery, probably multiple surgeries, and your ankle." He trailed off. "How are you even walking?" Mickey looked away. "I don't know. The surgeries started in early 1962. Knee surgery, shoulder surgery." Mickey missed the first month of the season. When he came back, he wasn't the same. The effortless power was gone. The speed was gone. He still hit home runs. He still made plays. But it hurt. Every swing, every throw, every step. And it never stopped hurting. Spring training. Mickey sat in the locker room, alone. His hands were shaking, not from nerves, from pain. He had been taking pills to manage it. Cortisone, painkillers, muscle relaxers, anything to get through the day. But it wasn't enough anymore. He thought about the man on the pier, about the deal he had made. He wondered if it had been worth it. One night, drunk and desperate, Mickey called the number again. It rang, and rang, and rang, and rang, and rang. No one answered. Mickey hung up and laughed bitterly. Of course, the man was gone. He had gotten what he wanted. Mickey had played. Mickey had won. And now Mickey was broken.
The deal was complete. October 1968, Mickey's final game. He stood at home plate for the last time. The crowd gave him a 10-minute standing ovation. He waved, he smiled, he soaked it in, but as he walked off the field, his knee throbbing with every step, he felt something he hadn't felt in years. Relief. Not because he had achieved greatness, but because the lie was finally over. Years later, in retirement, Mickey would sometimes think about that night on Pier 47. He would wonder what would have happened if he had said no, if he had walked away, if he had let his body heal. Would he have played longer? Would he have been healthier? He would never know, because the truth was, Mickey Mantle couldn't say no. Not to the game, not to the pressure, not to the voice in his head that said he had to be perfect. And that was the real cost of the deal. Not the pain, not the surgeries, but the knowledge that he had sacrificed everything, his health, his future, his peace, for a moment of glory that disappeared the second it was over. Mickey Mantle played 18 seasons in Major League Baseball. He won 7 World Series championships. He hit 536 home runs. He was inducted into the Hall of Fame on the first ballot. But no one ever knew about the deal he made in October 1961. No one knew about the man on the pier. No one knew about the vials, or the price he paid. Because some stories aren't meant to be told, some secrets are carried alone, and some heroes are built on choices they can never take back. Mickey Mantle wasn't just a baseball player. He was a man who made a deal with the devil, and he spent the rest of his life living with it. The night of Game 5, 1961, Mickey stood in the shower long after his teammates had left the locker room. The champagne had dried, the cameras were gone, the stadium was empty. He looked down at his knee. It didn't hurt, not yet, but he knew it would, and when it did, there would be no one to call, no one to save him, because the man on the pier wasn't a miracle worker. He was a ghost, and ghosts don't answer when you need them most. October 1961. Mickey Mantle made a choice. He chose glory over health, the moment over the future, the roar of the crowd over the quiet of his own conscience, and it cost him everything. But maybe that's what heroes do. Maybe they make the choices the rest of us can't. Maybe they sacrifice themselves so we can believe in something bigger. Maybe Mickey Mantle knew exactly what he was doing that night on Pier 47. Maybe he knew the cost, and maybe he decided it was worth it anyway. Because in the end, Mickey Mantle got what he wanted. He played in the World Series. He won. He was the hero, and for one perfect month in October 1961, he felt invincible. The rest of his life was just the price he paid for that feeling, and maybe in some strange way, he never regretted it.